观众朋友晚上好，欢迎收看最新一期的子天访谈录 ISD Talk Show， 我是子天 Schedule. Welcome to ISD Talk Show, and thank for the commercial and the balancing company together sponsor ISD Talk Show. Thank you so much, Danny.
Of course, of course. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's good to be back on the show, especially in the Thanksgiving spirit. And we have a special guest, and I'd like you to introduce our guest.
Yeah, I like our guest smelling.
Yes.
Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, my name is David Hamilton, and I'm on the Fort Bend ISD Board of Trustees, and I'm very happy to be here. So I wanted to share that when Danny and I first met in 2013, I was inspired by how much he loves America and appreciates the opportunities that we have here.
Yeah.
And so it's very fitting that we're here talking on Thanksgiving week. So you made me more thankful for America and the opportunities that we have here. So Danny's a very inspiring leader. So it's good to be here with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. You know, this is the Thanksgiving spirit,
Yes.
and this is so appropriate to be thankful. What is it that you're thankful for? Tell me one thing that you're grateful for.
I'm really grateful for life, for what I have.
Okay.
Yeah, every day, like business opportunity and friends, family, and Danny and Miss Lee and our guest.
Yes.
Well, you're grateful for me too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sky. And you know, sometimes, David, we're taking things for granted,
Yes.
Yeah.
especially in the families, circles and friend circles. But I think sometimes we have to let that other people know we're grateful that you are here with us.
Yes.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, I've known you for several years,
Yes.
and I'm so happy that you finally get elected to serve on the board.
Yes.
Because I know that you're doing it genuinely. That's where your heart is.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, how do I know? Because based on several conversations you share with me,
Right.
you asked me about, do I like the quality of the competence of the students and all that? So how has it been? How is it like to be a Fort Bend Education Board member?
It's been great. So we have a lot of things going well for the district, and we also have a lot of challenges. So it's been good to step into both of those, so I can step in and try to make our strengths even better while
Yes.
also trying to address our weaknesses as a
Yeah.
district. So we have a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
So I enjoy trying to solve problems, and we talked about just as the neighborhood goes, so goes the school. And so we talked about the economic opportunities in an area. So as we can find ways to do economic development,
Yes. Yes.
then that carries over and does better for the school district. And then Fort Bend ISD is actually the largest employer in Fort Bend County.
Right.
And the budget is around $1 billion a year.
$1 billion, ladies and gentlemen, $1 billion school budget.
Yeah, so
bigger than
yes, I know
some cities.
We talked about just sharing some ways that small businesses can do business with Fort Bend ISD, and we have a lot of opportunities. So we try to find ways to do business with small and minority-owned businesses in Fort Bend ISD. So. We have opportunities on the website that people can go look up. So it's fortbendisd.com, and we have a lot of different opportunities for vendors and suppliers and construction companies and things like that.
As a matter of fact, you excite me when you talk about opportunities for small business and hopefully opportunities for our listeners.
Yes.
Okay, but let's give them a little bit background. You know, people are familiar with city council, mayor race, but they're very unfamiliar with the Fort Bend. So can you briefly share with us the structures? How many members are there and how does it work?
Yes. So it's similar with larger companies, the way that they'll have a CEO and then a board of directors.
Right.
And so the CEO of the school district is the superintendent. And so the school board, one of the most important things we do is we hire the superintendent. And then most of what we do is we collaborate with the superintendent to shape the direction of the district. And so there are 7 trustees on the school board. And typically you have to have 4 of the 7 agree on something to pass a change or to hire the superintendent or do things like that. And so that's kind of the structure. And Fort Bend ISD is a little bit confusing because a lot of people think Fort Bend ISD means Fort Bend County.
Right.
But we actually have several school districts in Fort Bend County.
Right.
And Fort Bend ISD is mostly Sugar Land and Missouri City.
Right.
And a little bit of Richmond and then Fresno. But so that's a little bit of the structure. And then we have 82 different campuses, and we have right at 80,000 students. in Fort Bend ISD.
Wow. So basically, 4 members can make decisions.
Yes.
It's just like the same voting structure.
Yes, absolutely.
As a council members.
Absolutely.
And then you set out a comprehensive plan. You set long-term strategic vision
Yes.
for how the school board goes.
Yes.
And then you hire a superintendent.
Yes.
How does the process work of hiring a superintendent?
We just hired a new superintendent last year before I
Yeah.
was on the board, and so I know they go through, so they use a search firm that brings, I think they bring the top 3 candidates
Right.
To the board, and then the board interviews each of the top candidates. And so we brought back somebody who was our deputy superintendent
Right.
up until I think around 5 years ago. And then she left Fort Bend ISD to go to Bryan ISD as the superintendent there. And then we brought her back last year, so she's been with Fort Bend ISD for a little over a year now. She's doing an incredible job. She's a great leader, kind of like you, where she just inspires people. And there are actually some of our key people had left Fort Bend ISD and went to work for other districts.
Yes.
And they came back just because she is here now.
Yeah.
Because they want to work where she is, because she's such a great leader and she cares about her people. She cares about teachers and students and outcomes.
It's great to hear that.
And so she's doing a really good job.
Great to hear that. We need a good one. So you understand the structure, right?
Yeah.
So board of directors give directions, and the superintendent is like the CEO. He's the one who execute the plan. They tell, this is the plan, and then he's the one who run the daily operations. I remember before you ran, you usually talk about it's like a SWOT analysis in business.
Yes.
Strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
tell me a few strengths. What are some good things of the current Fort Bend
ISD? So every campus, so we have one high school that has entered into a targeted improvement plan, which means it's in the bottom 5% in the state of Texas.
Right.
But even that campus has some incredible things, incredible students who are winning accommodations at the state level.
Yes.
And so every campus and every demographic, we have students of every race, of every ethnicity, of every religion. Thriving in the district.
Good. Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I love. So we have opportunities for all students, and we try to give every student the opportunity to succeed.
I love that.
And
opportunity for all.
Yeah, opportunity for all, absolutely. So that's one of the strengths, and then like I said, we have a great leader as superintendent.
Yes.
And the executive leadership team is very strong.
Right.
And then as I've been able to meet a lot of the principals at each campus, we have great leaders, and in my opinion, some of the best leaders we have are the football coaches. So I played college basketball and semi-pro basketball, so I've got an athletic background, and my dad's a retired high school coach.
Wow.
So
you look like a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was what I was always going to do until
principal.
principal.
Yeah, you have the look of a good principal or a professor, right, Sky?
Thank you. So the leaders we have in the district are really strong.
Yes.
And I think they're moving the district in a very good direction.
Awesome.
Yes,
awesome. So the ability to choose the right candidate to run is very important.
Very important.
Because they are the one who actually doing the work.
Yes.
Awesome. And how much time do you spend on serving the board as a member?
Yeah, I would say it's usually somewhere around 10 hours a week.
10 hours a week.
But that varies.
10 hours.
Yeah.
So what do you do, the details for the 10 hours?
So we have two meetings per week that are Monday nights. And that's where we go through the agenda, and we approve any of the spending that's above $50,000. Right. And then any other action items that come up. And we go through and revise the district education policies.
Right.
And so an issue that I think your audience probably cares a lot about. So as a demographic, Asian students are doing the best in Fort Bend ISD. And so when you look at the GT students, the number one demographic is Asian students in gifted and talented. And so we're trying to find ways to get more participation among every demographic.
Right.
And we have to be very careful in the way we do that, because we don't want to follow the mistakes that some colleges have made, where when they have a higher representation of Asian students, the way they try to change that is they don't admit students that are very high performing if they're Asian, because they're trying to give those opportunities to other students.
Right.
And so we have to find a way to lift up non-Asian students without discriminating against Asian students.
Right.
And so there's a case in the Supreme Court that's about to be decided, because they've gone about it in a bad way where they are discriminating against Asian students.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's very important that we're trying to deal with right now.
Right, but they're not going to set a quota, right?
Right.
I mean, the democracy is you give everyone
That's right.
a
That's right.
level playing field.
That's right.
And if it's happened to be African American or Caucasian,
Right.
should we let it be that way?
Right. We should.
I mean, there's no quota.
Yes, and so one of the very important principles that we have in America is something called a meritocracy.
Yes.
And so you succeed based on merit, not based on where you were born or who your parents
Yes.
are or what connections you have or anything like
Right.
that, right? And so that should be the status for GT spots and college scholarships and college admission. Just like it is with your success in business, you were
Right.
not prevented from succeeding because you were born in Vietnam.
Right.
You came here and you took advantage of opportunities you were given. You worked very hard, and you worked very smart, and you've been very successful. And that should be the model for students of all races.
Right.
And so an analogy that I think is maybe helpful. So we have with athletic scholarships, we have a lot of African American students who are getting athletic scholarships.
Right.
And so I don't think we should look at that and try to say, we want to have opportunities for all students, but we don't want to do that in a way that necessarily takes opportunities away from those African American students. We want to promote
Right.
equal access to
Yes.
all students.
Yes.
And so the situation is we have some families that place a higher value on athletics.
Yeah.
And that family is more likely to have their kid get an athletic scholarship.
Got you.
And then we have families that place a higher value on academics.
Right.
And their kids are more likely to be in GT or get college academic scholarships.
Right.
And so we want to promote equal opportunity
Yes.
and merit-based outcomes where we can't guarantee equal outcomes because not all students work as hard as each other.
Outcome and result
That's right.
are never guaranteed.
That's right.
Success is never guaranteed.
That's right. So
I mean, whoever told me that success is guaranteed, then that person must be from different planet.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we playing fair.
Yes.
But we also have social responsibility.
That's right.
Sometimes like in a whole team, our community reflect like a big family.
Yes.
But if somebody is running behind,
Yes.
you want to give them some little bit
Absolutely.
boost,
Absolutely.
some courage.
Yes.
Different ethnic,
Yes.
sometimes they have different. So I think that is okay with that.
Yes.
As long as it doesn't stop or hinder
Right.
the growth
Right.
of the other person who trying so hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What question do you have for David, Sky?
Yeah, I think you already took a lot of knowledge
Okay.
for the audience
Very good.
about the trustee.
Yeah.
Very good.
So I think the audience also want to know some of your personal life.
Yes.
Yeah, you how to involve education
Yes.
and what's your background?
Yes. Yes. So I have two kids in Fort Bend ISD schools, and so I have a 4th grade son and a 2nd grade daughter. And I would say they're the main reason why I decided to run was
That's a beautiful family.
beautiful family. My wife is gorgeous, and our kids look like her, thankfully. And so
In our culture, we don't, Asian culture, we don't say that. My wife is beautiful, but we understand.
Yes.
I mean, and I have to learn how to do that too. I mean, as a matter of fact, Asian men should learn how to say that too,
Yes.
because we're afraid.
Yes.
Said my wife is beautiful, and then they said, "Hey man, where's your humbleness?" But I know.
American
Kate, she's
culture.
beautiful. Yes, that's
Thank you.
correct.
Thank you.
Happy wife, happy life,
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I want to improve the schools for all in Fort Bend ISD for all students.
Yes.
And within that, I want my kids to benefit from improved opportunities and improved schools. So.
Your kid, my kids.
That's right.
They're
That's
the
right.
big kids.
That's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, what are some of the challenges that you see right now? It must be solved.
Yes.
I want to know this too.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was, I would say, so my kids trying to improve the schools for my own kids was one of the big reasons, but another big reason is just seeing the way that the pandemic negatively impacted education outcomes. And so we had disparities in different parts of the district before the pandemic. So the way I think about it, we had the students who were thriving and the students who were struggling. So there's kind of a slant.
Right.
And so from the pandemic, there was a significant drop off. So before the pandemic, our test scores across the district were around 70% in each subject, and they dropped to around 50% in each subject after the pandemic.
Wow.
And so that's bad in and of itself that you're dropping from 70 to 50, but because it was slanted already, the students who were struggling before are doing even worse now.
What is the main cause for that?
So a lot of it was we shut down schools, and so we had virtual learning.
So you just create that mentality.
Yes.
Got you. Yes.
And so some of our students thrived in virtual learning, and they were able to work just as well, if
but
not
it's not
better.
for everybody.
But it's not for everybody. Just like working remotely is not for everybody.
Exactly.
Not everybody can work from home.
Yes.
And so for my son, there were 32 kids in his class.
Yeah.
With what they call it switch classes, so they switch at lunchtime. But between the two classes together, there were 32 kids. And the teacher told us with the virtual learning at the end of the 2019-2020 school year, 32 kids, our son was one of 6 who completed the work that they were given. So only 6 out of 32 even completed the work. That doesn't even mean that they got, how much they got right or wrong.
Yeah.
But only 6 out of 32 completed the work.
Right.
And so a bunch of the students, whether their parents were working or both parents work, or it's a single parent family and the mom or dad works, they just weren't able to keep up with the virtual learning situation.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
So what are the attributes to your son's success?
So my son has autism, and so that creates a challenge, and so that's another part of it is just trying to create better opportunities for all of our special needs students.
Right.
But so with all the trade-offs with my son, he's highly focused, and he's very motivated in some subjects.
Yeah.
Like he loves math.
Yeah.
But it's hard to keep him. It's hard to keep his attention on something for very long.
Got you.
And so right now he loves dinosaurs,
Right.
and so he'll talk to you for 3 hours about dinosaurs
Got you.
if you let him. But so you
Yeah.
have to redirect him. Okay, Brad,
Right.
you have homework. You have to read.
Right. Yeah.
But I would say one of the big factors with success is how engaged the parents are in the situation. And so at the very least, you need parents who, if the student gets off track.
You cannot just send them to school and say, that is my responsibility.
That's right.
I mean, it's the responsibility go beyond that.
Yes. And
so how many
unfortunately,
hours do you spend a week with your sons?
with my son, so between my wife and her parents live close by.
Oh, that's help. Grandparents.
Yes, so my in-laws help a lot with making sure they get their homework done and extra reading.
Yes.
And so we're doing that every day. So they do at least 30 minutes of extra reading every day on top of their homework.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know about you, Sky, but I still love that old tradition. Where you have a big family, you get grandmother, grandpa, and I love to hear grandma stories.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a little kid, David, I don't know about you, but every time, there's no internet, there's no TV.
That's right.
Every time that, when the night comes, and grandma start telling story, we just the whole room with we're quiet.
That's right. That's right.
I love that.
Yep.
You think that helped?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm not calling my grandmother a liar by any means, but she said that we descended from Pocahontas. So that was my grandmother's story.
Maybe she's trying to provoke the imagination.
Maybe.
So,
Maybe.
Yeah. You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know. We need to go check that.
Yes.
It could be true.
Yeah. Well, we give her the benefit of the doubt.
That's right.
Because as long as that story provoke and motivate students to learn more, then I think it's a good thing.
Right.
I missed grandma's stories, man. Things change.
Yes.
People said the method change.
Yes.
You deal with new format, social media, internet, and all that, e-books and all that.
Yes.
But the core principle remain the same.
That's right.
The core human being, I don't care.
Yes.
Whatever happened, 10,000, 1 million, as long as human was alive, the same. Human, the hunger for knowledge, the desire to be better, it's all remain the same.
Yes.
And sometimes that we're so caught up in all the new means, but the principle is the same. The whole goal is education. Let me ask you this. Education changed. The world had changed so much. I remember before when we went to college, we have to memorize a lot of formulas and poems, and you have to read the whole poem you memorize, you store information. But the world had changed. Now you have Mr. Google.
That's right.
How could you compete with Mr. Google? So why should I learn all the math formulas? So has the paradigm of teaching changed?
Go ahead. Sorry, finish.
No. That's my question. So do you have to change to adapt it to new needs?
I think it has changed, and I think it's changed more than it should have, because I think exactly what you said, that in some ways there's no change all the way back to the beginning of humanity.
Right.
In that we still have the same brains that they had then, right?
Right.
And the hunger for knowledge and success, like you said. And so I think we've been really aggressive with adapting with new technology.
Yes.
And we have more information at the tips of our fingertips with our smartphones.
Like a fancy phone.
That's right.
Like a sky, right?
That's right. So we have more information at our fingertips with the smartphones and other devices than ever before in humanity.
Right.
And at the same time, I think we've lost the ability to think for ourselves in a lot of situations, or the ability to go find information for ourselves, right? To go find the source documents to where, rather than just getting the news from your neighbor who tells you something, or from the news with the slant that the news has a lot of times. And so I think they're the foundations of learning. I think we need to get back to those. And within that, you asked about the weaknesses. So we have, out of 52 elementary schools right now, one of our biggest weaknesses, 17 out of the 52, less than half of the kids in kindergarten through second grade can read at grade level.
Gosh,
and so that is very sad. And so,
I mean, that's why, I mean, it's sad if America keep going with this race.
Right.
And before long, America will be behind.
That's right.
And these people are the future generation leaders of this country.
That's right.
And it's sad, I'm telling you. I mean, seeing the family, the kids, they talk to the machine more than they talk to you.
Yes.
And I don't know, in the future, you and I know that the most important skills is communication.
Yes.
One-to-one, heart-to-heart, heart-to-heart. But I said, how could they survive in the real world, man? They don't talk to each other. I mean, one son talk to each other. He's here and there, they text each other. I said, what do you do? I said, I'm texting to Jordan. And Jordan said, hey, what do you do? I'm talking to Daryl. He said,
They text message.
Yes. Yes.
So what do you think that is a threat? So they won't be able to have that interpersonal relationships.
Yes.
They can connect,
Right.
but if you cannot connect, you don't understand. You're no longer human.
Right. Right. Yes.
So how do we tackle that issues, David?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think
I'm not trying to put you in the spot. You know?
It's a very good question. I think it's something that we need to address, especially with the pandemic where we had. So in Texas, we were not shut down with virtual learning only as long as other states were.
Yes.
But we did have a period of that, and then we gave the option for the full school year of 2020 and 21.
Yes.
Students and parents had the option to go virtual for the entire school year.
Yes.
And some of those students did so, and I think those students especially, they lost that ability to interact with their friends and communicate. And I think Fort Bend County is either the most or one of the most diverse counties in the country.
Yes, I know.
And so there are a lot of great things that come about from that. But one of the things that's really challenging with that is sometimes you see people will divide by their race naturally, where the students of a certain race hang out together and talk to each other. And so that's one of the things that I really want to see happen is the ability to bridge those differences, and to go to somebody who was born in a different country than you, or looks differently than you, or has a different religion, and say, help me understand what it's like to be in your shoes.
Gotcha.
Or if somebody says something that maybe sounds bad, rather than jump to the worst assumption or the worst interpretation, to say, Danny, you said this. Can you help me understand what you meant by that?
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that would be really great for us to promote with all of our students.
But you have to create a different, a new frame of thinking, new frame of processing information. It's a different ballgame. Are you happy with the composition of the members?
Yes, I'm happy with.
Do you think those 7 people reflected what the true society is?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's very good.
And another thing is that you have a platform for parents to voice their voices, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you happy with the participations from the parents who come and talk?
Yeah.
Because when I was on council, we have a podium for citizens to come and talk.
Yes.
Nobody ever come to the podium and talk.
Right.
But when you go to the street, there's a lot of complaints.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So are you happy? What can we do two questions. Are you happy with the level of participation from parents? And then if not, what can be done to encourage more people coming in and voice their voices?
Yeah, so I was going to say that the same thing you said. So we have that opportunity to speak for parents, or community members can speak at every meeting, and almost nobody does that. But I would also say that should be kind of the second option for how parents get involved.
Right.
Or maybe even the third option. So the first option would be if they have a problem with a teacher or with something happening at their campus, they can go to the campus itself.
You can come to the campus.
You can go to the campus.
In addition to the meeting podium.
Yes.
But you have that podium open.
Yes. The podium is open, absolutely.
Okay.
I would say, go to the campus first, and if it's a problem within your kid's classroom, then go to the teacher first.
Yes.
And then if the teacher disagrees or won't do what they should do, or they say, Danny, I'm going to make this change because because your son needs this change, and then they don't, then you can go to the principal at that campus and
I love it.
So step one and step two. And then
so there's a system for parents. You know, this is so important, Sky. I really want to talk to our audience. I want to appreciate you, David, for coming to us as the board members. Today we are interviewing a board member from Fort Bend ISD who come and share with us how the system works. And one of the things that you told me that really resonated, if you are not happy with the school board, you as parent, you have every right to come and speak. You speak. You cannot. You will respect them, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You cannot interrupt, right? They come.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if your voice is not heard, and David Hamilton, a member of the board, just said, you can talk to the principal, and then so if you are unhappy with your children's performance, you know, please voice your voice. Is that right, Sky?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and so within that, though, so I would say they have the opportunity to speak in the board meeting, but one of the negative parts of that is we can't respond in the meeting. We can't respond directly to that communication. And so if they want a response, they can email us.
Yeah, but you know why, right? Because, I mean, it's happy structured that way. It's not perfect. But if you engage, then you become like an argument. Right. You know, you talk back, and then it becomes,
Right. And so
I think the system works well.
Yes, but if they want a response from us, then they can email us.
Got you. But they can set up an appointment with you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So when they request, you must respond.
Yes.
Let's say the parent said, hey, the chair, Mr. David, Mr. Hamilton, can you meet with us? You have to make yourself available.
Yes.
Of course. That's
I would say if we want to get reelected, then yes, we have to.
Yeah. Because you remember they promised accessibility.
That's right.
You know, before the election, you know what? I mean, you vote for me, and then remember to Sky. You know how many people that Sky and I interview? They promise all the same, right?
That's right.
And thank you so much for coming today.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I love talking about this with you both. So thank you, Sky. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, you know, Sky. Remember at the beginning, David mentioned about opportunity for business, but I thought, you know, his conversation is so involved in details. So maybe we have another one. Just talk about business opportunities. How to do business with the Fort Bend School Board. That would be awesome.
And we could probably have somebody from the procurement department.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We are very grateful that you
and
come and talk with us.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
If I remember correctly, David seemed to be able to speak Chinese. I want to hear his talents.
Yes, I will say Ni Hin Gao and Wa Hin I.
Oh, perfect.
Did he say it right? Are you sure?
Yeah, he said very correct.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So you understand him?
Yeah, understand.
Okay.
He say, 你很高, it means you are tall. Also, you mean you are this.
Okay, now I'm jealous. Okay, now you have to speak Vietnamese. We have a big Vietnamese population in Fort Bend.
You'll have to teach me some Vietnamese.
See? You lose credit already, David.
You set me up for failure, Danny.
Oh, no.
Next time
we speak Vietnamese.
I'll practice my Vietnamese.
3 sentences.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will ask you front of the show.
Okay. Shay.
One more.
Thank you. Well, I thought we have a good show today.
Yeah, very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Thank you, Danny and David.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you, Danny.
And
thank you.
Thank you all the audience. And hopefully you have a very good Thanksgiving holiday.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Yeah. 这就是今天的子田访谈录 ，I see you next week。